guys, how are you? My name is Anna. Welcome back to my podcast, Miss Cultured. I am here to talk to you guys about intuition. So, I just wanted to go into it and give you guys a very brief definition. It's just basically knowing something without having any real conscious knowledge or having to have any, knowledge or proof. You just kind of know something. Like whenever you get a gut feeling and you just feel like you know something, that's your intuition letting you know whatever it is trying to let you know. So a little bit about myself. I am a Scorpio, so I believe very much in astrology and all of the influences that it has on us as individuals. And I did want to just talk a little bit about some of my experiences that I've had and just how sometimes I actually allowed people to make me doubt or question what my intuition was telling me. And ultimately, my intuition was always right. So with that said, I have a specific belief of what intuition is and what role it plays in our lives. And once you learn to fully trust your intuition, I feel like you'll start to walk on the right path for you, on your life path, which, you have set out for you the moment you're born. Obviously, we all have free will, so we tend to get off of our path. And that's when the universe starts to kind of throw us back into sync, because it definitely wants us to follow our path. We're all here with a purpose. We all have something to bring into the collective. And so I feel like the more we start to learn to trust our gut feeling or our intuition, we will start to really live out our lives the way that we really have intended and the way that we're supposed to. Now, when it comes to in my specific situations, oh my goodness, my intuition is so on point with so many things. It's situations that I have absolutely no business, I guess, scenarios or whatever you want to call it. Like, I just have no business in knowing it. And it's just like, I just know. And, the times where I've trusted my intuition and I was just like, I don't know what it is, but my gut is telling me something's off. Sometimes you don't know exactly what it is, but you just know that something's off. And you don't know what that is per se, but your gut knows. And in my opinion, intuition is, it's the way that your higher self communicates with you. So we all have, our higher selves, which is like when you reincarnated, you chose to reincarnate at a certain time in a certain place with certain people based on whatever lessons you're trying to learn in this lifetime. And so because you chose these influences, your higher self is guiding you. So whenever you go to sleep, you have dreams, whatever the case may be, you communicate with your higher self. So when you are communicating with your higher self, you may not remember it, but there's like an overview of just where your life is going and where it's supposed to go. And when you start feeling unhappy about situations, or, you start getting a lot of tension in whatever situations you're in, whether it's relationships, whether it's your job, whether it's, school, whatever it may be, it might be because that's just not what you're meant to be doing. And so, once you find your life path, your intuition is just going to give you that gut feeling to just go for it, and there's a lot of things that have been happening for me lately, a lot of great blessings coming in, and a lot of it is coming from just me accepting and taking in a lot of my gifts and following my intuition. I definitely have learned to trust my intuition a lot more. And so it's been fascinating to kind of watch how on point my intuition is about certain things. And I don't know if anyone out there can relate, but it is pretty scary how on point my intuition can be. And it's to the point where, I've caught people in the middle of doing things where I had no business knowing that they were going to be there. My gut just told me, like, I'll go into like an old story. When I was younger, and with my son's father, we were going through some stuff, and, he told me there was a situation. He told me that he was going to go do something, and, he just kind of disappeared, and he was gone for a lot longer than how long he told me he was going to be gone. And, I got in my car because I had to go put gas in my car. And I just happened to feel like driving by this spot that we would always go to hang out at. And lo and behold, guess who I found? It was just like he was there. And I didn't know how I knew, but I just knew. And I just went with my gut feeling. So I really want to talk about how we can really change our lives by following your intuition. Sometimes you meet somebody and you just get a vibe. That's your gut feeling letting you know, like, whether that person is going to be good for you or not, So trust it. That's all I got to say. Trust it, because you just know, like, your higher self is going to send you those messages to let you know whether you're on the right path or not. So I just feel like my intuition, had I followed it in certain instances, would have saved me so much heartache and so much wasting of my time, because my gut already knew what my heart or brain didn't want to listen to or hear. And it was just like my gut would tell me something, and if I chose to ignore it, it would kind of come back and it would be like a slap in the face, because whatever it was that my gut was telling me would come true. Excuse me. English is not my first language, guys. So if I say like any ums or anything like that, it is definitely a transitional word for me, because I'm possibly searching for the right word to translate in my head. So please don't mind me. And my accent does come out sometimes. So usually, you can't even tell that, English isn't my first language, but my accent pops out sometimes, and I'm okay with that. It's part of who I am. But it's been such a journey. And, this past year, I really have sat down and decided to let my intuition be a guide, really, to what I'm supposed to be doing, where I'm supposed to be, And it's so funny because I want to tell you guys a story about how I landed the job that I have now, which I love. It is like such a fun job. I love what I do. I get to talk to people all day. And as obviously you guys can see, I like to talk. This is why I have this, this going on here. But so I'm really excited to share all of this with you guys. I have this awesome job that I love, and I remember that when I saw it, I literally said, oh, I need this job. Like, I'm gonna get this job. This is it. This is for me. Like, this is just perfect. So I definitely manifested it. Like, my intuition just told me, like, girl, go for it, So I applied, and there was 180 applicants. And because of my language barrier, I have a very hard time sometimes with the personality tests that they give, the computer test, when they ask you like a bunch of questions, but they ask you the same question in a bunch of different ways. So for me, that's difficult because when you're asking me in a bunch of different ways, they're translating into Spanish in my head to actually different things. So because the words change in English, the actual meaning or whatever it would be actually changes altogether in Spanish. So in my mind, the way that it works when I'm translating it, things don't necessarily translate accurately. And so like I'd probably answer one question one way and then get asked the same question in a different way and answer that question different. It's not because, I'm lying or anything like that. It's just because that's just how it translated for me, and that's how I understood the question, and that's how I responded to it. So I remember going through like the first process, which is like, I had to record myself speaking, and I had to just go into some stuff about like, maybe something how I can relate a previous experience of mine to what the job entails, which was easy for me because we do live events, and I love live events. Like, see, I light up. I love it. It's like one of my favorite things to do is go to live events, and any type of live events, guys, any type. I'm talking about, I love sports events. I love festivals, concerts, plays, all of it. I'm all in for all of that. And I remember that when it got down to, I passed the first part of the interview and they really liked me. They emailed me and said, we really want you to take this test and then we'll set up the next part of the interview. So I took the test. I was really nervous because I know I don't necessarily do well in them, but whatever. I was just gonna try to do it. Then I get an email the next day letting me know that unfortunately I did not pass the test. And so I was devastated. And, she did state in the email, we'll be opening the position up again. So once we open the position up again, then at that point in time, you can reapply. So, I was devastated, but my gut told me not to give up. Like, this was going to be my job, period. Whether it was this round or whether it was the next round, I was going to work for this company and I was going to do something that I loved. And my gut was just telling me, like, go for it. So I replied to the email and I was just like, thank you so much for the opportunity. Like, I was obviously very bummed that I didn't pass, but I wrote in the email, do you mind if I ask what part I failed or what parts I failed so that I can go ahead and, I can try again next time, you know what I'm saying? So that I know what to practice or study for or what to really focus on next time. And so I just sent her this and just basically showed that I really was interested in this job. And I, regardless of whether it was this time around or whether it was next time around, when they came back around, I was going to apply for this job. Like I was coming back. So I remember that literally, I don't know if it was just like later on that day or the next day, I get a phone call and it's from the HR person that I was in contact with, who I was emailing. And she literally, once I picked up, she's like, hey, I just went over your results and you actually did pass. And I actually want to do a phone interview right now if you're okay. And I was just like, oh my God, I was elated. I'm like, yes, let's do this. Like, I have time. Let's go. This is my dream job. Like, I'm going for it. So I did the interview and I aced that interview. And so she's like, yeah, like, it was great. We'll set you up for a video interview with the supervisor and the manager. And that was like so insane. I was so happy to actually even get the opportunity to interview further, because I literally, had I taken that first response and just been like, you know what, it is what it is, and just ignored that email, then I would have never, ever been put in this situation in which they gave me another shot, and so I remember, or even if I did, I don't know if I passed or not. To be honest with you, she said I did, so I'm gonna take her word for it. And so I remember that I was just like so excited about it at that point in time. And it's just like my gut had told me, like, respond to the email and make sure that you at least try and find out and understand why you didn't make it through this time around. Because when they comes back around, the universe was basically telling me, this is it, this is for you. You have to apply again if that's what you have to do, but you're gonna do whatever it takes. So I got that response, and I sat down and I told them, even when I sat down for my interview, I let them know I went with my gut. I was 100% authentically myself. I am a very outgoing person. I like to talk, and I like to just give out positivity and love, and just, because everybody goes through stuff, and if I can make somebody's day better, then that makes my day better. So I showed myself who I was, who I really am. And, they liked me, but I made sure also to let them know that, hey, I understand that there's a lot of people for this position. They only had, I didn't even know at that point in time how many openings they had. I just knew that it was a great opportunity and I didn't want to let it pass up. And I know anyone else who applied for it was probably on the same type of time, because, I get to work from home, which I love. I get to talk to people, which I love. And it's just been really fun and such a great experience. And I've gotten to go to so many, events and stuff like that through my job, that it's just like I've been blessed, or truly. And so I remember sitting down in this interview and just telling them, like, listen, it's okay if you guys don't pick me this time around. They already told me you guys are going to probably hire again. So next round, you guys are going to see my face again. That's literally what I said. Literally, like, you guys are going to see me again. So it's perfectly fine. If you guys don't feel like right now's the time, that's okay. But any advice that you guys want to give me, I'll take it, because I want this. And so, being myself and following my intuition led me to have a job that I love in a company that I love working for. And I have opportunities to grow, and I'm really taking, I'm taking that seriously. And, they were there for me. Like, literally, I was working for about a month and a half, maybe I'm going to say like 2 months and a half. I wasn't on the phone for a whole month yet when, I got the call that my dad was very sick. And basically they told me, if you want to see him alive, then you should come, because we don't know what's going to happen, So I remember calling my boss and just telling him, I broke down and I told him about my dad, and I was crying on the phone and just telling him, I love my job. I don't want to lose my job, but I have to go. I have to go see my dad. And, it gets me emotional, because I tell them all the time how grateful I am for that, but I don't think they get it. I got to go because my job was so awesome. My boss was just like, listen, I totally understand. You go. Don't worry about your job. Take care of what you have to take care of. Just let me know what you need. That was it. And he told me about, our company, which is awesome, offers our benefits from the day that you start. So that not a lot of companies do that. And so that was one of the great things that, I was able to take advantage of. And so I was able to put in an FMLA form in order to take some leave to go take care of my dad. And that week was probably the hardest, but it's the one thing in my life that I feel like I wouldn't change, was me being able to go and really take care of my father and be there for him. And it's just like, my job was good when I got back. I didn't have to worry about anything. They were so awesome. They sent me flowers when I got back, and they really took care of me. Like, they would hit me up and make sure I was okay. I started to have, I had a thyroid issue, which caused me to have problems with weight gain. And so I couldn't lose weight, and I gained like a crazy amount of weight in a short period of time. Like within 3 years, I went from being like 125 to being like 170, or maybe less than that. It was probably like within a year or so that I went from like being like 120 to being like a ridiculous, to me, that was like, I'd never been that heavy in my life. So I went up to 170, and that was part of my thyroid issue, which also caused anxiety and depression. And at that point in time, I had actually gotten off of my anxiety and, my anxiety medication and my thyroid medication, because I actually had gone vegan, and that actually helped me regulate my thyroid issue, which was awesome. And that's another synchronicity too. Like, that's another gut feeling that I had. It was just like, I remember, I had heard about What the Health for a long time, the documentary on Netflix. And I remember that I went to, I was trying to eat cleaner. I was looking into other things. The person I was dating, started to do research about, holistic foods and just Dr. Sebi and all these other things. So, we were talking about changing our lifestyles and stuff like that. And so we went vegan, actually. And once I went vegan, I was able to regulate myself and be good, So I actually was able to stop taking the medication, and I was doing so much better. And then my dad passed away. And once my dad passed away, it was kind of like everything just digressed. I just went back to having my panic attacks, my depression. And I remember that sometimes there was one time I was at work, and I was on an escalation. So, my customer was not happy with whatever situation it was. They wanted to speak to a supervisor. So I was passing the call on to one of my leads, and I remember that, she asked me to do a warm transfer, which is when I just go in and introduce, tell her what the situation is and, whatever. So it was like, literally, she picked up the phone, and I'm usually very happy and bubbly. And it was like she could feel that my energy was off. And it was like, that's how you know intuition is crazy. Because it's just like, she couldn't see me, what I was going through or anything. But because she knew my normal personality, she instinctively knew something was off. And so she asked me, she's like, hey, like, are you okay? And I felt comfortable enough to let her know I'm not okay. I'm actually having a panic attack right now. I couldn't breathe. Mind you, I was on an escalation with somebody that was very angry. So it was really hard for me to take that, and deal with my own anxiety and the panic that I was feeling. And so that was really hard. And so she was just like, listen, take a minute, if you need to get off the phones, just put in the code to go on to a quick break real quick, and just breathe, to take care of yourself. Whenever you're ready to come back on, let me know. And it's just like, it's things like that, that it's just like, they do not understand the help and support that they've provided me, and has really affected me so positively, because it's helped me, navigate situations, and I feel like, you know what, I can be human, because that's what it is. We're human, and I can be human and have things happen and not have to be concerned that I'm going to be fired tomorrow because I'm human and because things happen, So I truly am appreciative of my job, and it is literally one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I love what I do. And again, all of this came from me following my intuition. That one day I could have just taken that L and said, listen, I don't want to, whatever, like, oh, I'm bummed out, I didn't get it, it is what it is. But no, I decided to be like, no, you know what? Maybe I didn't get it this time, but I got it next time. My intuition was just like, you need to go for it and find out what it is. And I did. I trusted my gut. I went with it. And I remember asking the person that I was with, and I was just like, do you think I should like do it? Because I was questioning myself, and that's the thing. It's just like, we don't learn as kids to trust what our gut is telling us. They don't teach us that. They want us to be logical, use your brain. But logic sometimes doesn't make sense, because logic is based on the knowledge that you have. But there are things in place in which knowledge that you don't have, but your higher self does, because your higher self knows everything that's happening. And how that correlates to the path that you chose to be on. So if you're not on the right path for you, your higher self is going to send you that gut feeling to let you know, listen, get back into your path, right? And if you don't follow it, then that's when the universe starts to send things your direction to let you know, this isn't it. This is not it. It might manifest as anxiety. It might manifest as continuous problems, drama, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? We should all be looking for peace, right? That's my main thing right now. I just need peace. I need peace of mind. I need love. We all need love, unconditional love. We all need support. We all have to, call in our soul tribe. And it's so funny because one of the things that I started doing is I've started manifesting things, and I've started to take it very seriously. Like when I manifest. Like I write a letter, dear universe, and I tell it what I'm thankful for. I tell the universe, just all of the amazing things that it's doing for me is not going unnoticed. And so every time I manifest, I make sure to write down what blessings I'm grateful for that I've already manifested. And then I go into whatever else I want to manifest, and it's just like my gut is a big guide for that. And what we need to understand is that there's actually proof now that your gut is really like us, like a brain, and it's just like, it's your intestines hold emotions, like not your intestines, your digestive system. And you guys can actually look this up. I'm probably going to put the link to the video that I was watching where they're talking about it, because the Tao have been doing this for years. So they have been practicing Tai Chi, which is all about energy. And so these energies resonate in different parts of our bodies. And so what happens is you have like things like love and, but also on the opposite side, you have hate and things of that sort that are in the heart. And we automatically know that. But what we don't know is that there's other places that are they're very important as well, not just the heart. our whole digestive system works like a battery. And so we have to just basically recharge. And your gut just knows things that you might not, because you don't, like I said, you don't have all of the information, but the energies don't lie. Your gut is going to process that energy, and it's going to tell you, based off of the energy that is being given to you, whether that lines up with what's best for you and your higher self and what you guys agreed to or agreed upon at the time of your reincarnation. And so it's very important, and I think one of the best things that we can do in this lifetime, in any lifetime, is to learn to trust our gut, because our gut 99% of the time is right. So I don't think I've been wrong. I've been lied to about my gut feeling. I've been gaslighted a lot. And then it turns out it's true. And then it's and in the reverse too, there's been situations in which I was maybe in the wrong, and the person that I was with picked up on it because of the energies. They picked up on the energies, and they just knew, their intuition just knew. And, even if I may have denied it, I felt bad, because it was, their intuition was right. And it was like, I was gaslighting them, but it was a tough situation, and I just couldn't open up in that moment. And so, I did eventually open up and just tell them the truth, because fair is fair, and I didn't want him to feel like he was crazy for whatever happened. And so it's just at a point where you kind of have to dig a little deeper, and then let's not confuse your intuition with insecurities. Like, some of us can be insecure. We have issues that we might not have dealt with, or situations that happened in the past, and not every situation is the same, but not every situation is going to have the same. Just because you're in a similar situation, it doesn't mean it's going to have the same outcome. However, when your gut is telling you, and you just can't get that nagging feeling out of your head, like something's up, you know what I'm saying? Trust it. It's a very nagging feeling that happens, and it's just like, no, like, this isn't it. Like, I just know. It's just a knowing, And so, yeah, I think today I'm gonna end it here. This is just a little reminder to anyone who has ever been gaslighted, or who doesn't know how to trust themselves and their intuition. Your intuition is your higher self letting you know whether or not you're on the right path. And so with my job, my intuition told me, this is it. Like, you need this job. This is where you need to be. And my intuition was right. This is my job. This is what I love to do. This is, it's put me in a better space. It's going to help me put my son in a better position, and it's just like every year things just get better. Every year that passes, I'm there, and I love it even more than the year before. So, and I've been there 2 years already. It'll be 3 in January. So I know that it just passed, actually. My first, oh my God. Wow, no, this is, yeah. So yeah, this is my 2nd year. Actually, 10 days ago. I didn't even realize. So yeah, I've been there 2 years as of 10 days ago. So, and every year has been better than the one before. So I'm super excited to see what else happens for me this year, because I have a lot of amazing things that are just lining up for me, and my gut has just been telling me to go for these things, and I'm just going for it, and I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to share with you guys everything that's been happening for me in the background. And please join me on this journey. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on subscribe to my channel. Really appreciate any support. But please do not question your intuition. Trust it. Trust your gut feeling. When it's telling you something, look within yourself to make sure that it's not an insecurity bringing that up. But if you just can't shake that nagging feeling that you're right about something, then that's probably because you're right about it. Thank you guys for joining me once again, Miss Cultured Podcast, and you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.